Something tells me most of the internet will call us losers and then recommend cutting that relationship off. Should we save one-sided friendships? Yes, because we have nothing to lose.
But people are busy and have better things to do.
Okay, then maybe later, but still yes. Because, come on, how many things are better than doing something for a friend?
I'm Phil.
I'm Pierce.
I'm Todd.
This video belongs in the Let's Relook series. Today, let's relook friendship.
In this video, we'll be making small references to ideas and arguments from videos 5 and 6. But don't sweat it, you can still understand this video without knowing everything from before. Our main concern, after we've checked that we're indeed not the problem here because we are trying,
It's going to be very tempting to conclude that they're to blame.
the next logical thought would be,
Should I cut them off?
or
Should I stop texting first and see how long before we become strangers again?
anything along those lines. I may be wrong, but if we told internet communities nowadays that our interpersonal relationships have seemed one-sided, that our friends of any tier aren't reciprocating or don't seem to care about us, something tells me most of the internet will call us
Losers.
and then recommend cutting that relationship off.
Since this is an article by losers for losers,
Our main concern is,
how many lousy friends can we cut off before we have no friends left? If the answer is
a lot.
then what are you even doing here watching this video? You can stop now and go right ahead with pruning your life.
For the rest of us, I'm here to deter us from being trigger happy, removing friends from our life. Too much focus on ourselves. Often when the internet calls us
Losers.
it comes with a common advice to
Focus on ourselves.
don't get it twisted. Here at LTAp, we are big proponents of self-improvement because it's the condition for tier C friends. Being interested in life and therefore interesting to others. It's generally good to strive in our career or have hobbies. However, too much focus on ourselves is being
Self-absorbed and plain selfish.
and that's problematic for several reasons.
First, selfishness could lead to pursuing personal gain at the expense of others' well-being, needs, and their feelings. This has repeatedly been established throughout history as being terrible.
Second, let's say we attain success without any intentional collateral damage, but we neglect our personal relationships in the process. Now, despite all this financial freedom and time freedom, we have nobody to spend quality time with. This relates to the third problem. Having no personal social lives free from business agendas and productive motives could potentially stunt us emotionally and
Turn us into miserable, bitter people who are far more likely to do bad things with our power.
working on ourselves is a truly more accessible solution because it's about independence and doing what's within our control without needing others. But the goal is to solve neediness to better attain or maintain friendships, not discard friendship from our lives. We don't have to need them. We shouldn't need them. But it's great to want friends and seek genuine human connection. It's about creating those favorable conditions for expressing ourselves in ways that matter. You know, liking each other's company and having fun. That means, for example, friends who happen to be rich and successful aren't friends with each other because they're both rich and successful. But being rich and successful makes it easier for them to meet each other and maintain a quality friendship. We wanted to spend our time with them anyway. The case against cutting them off. In theory, lousy friends who don't care about us are problems in our lives. It leads us to feel lonely, needy, unwanted, inadequate. Cutting them off should reduce the problems in our lives. It should fulfill self-care, self-respect, boundaries, and prioritize relationships that are mutually beneficial and therefore truly important.
However, friendships in real life are less straightforward. People change and go through ups and downs all the time. They can become distant because of any sort of reasons, some of which could be temporary. Prematurely or wrongly cutting off lousy friends could counterproductively lead to more problems. We could feel even more isolated because we are reducing the size of our support system, and that's on top of still feeling lonely, which we've already been for a while. This would be especially bad if we already have very few friends. It could worsen our social withdrawal. We may even reach a point of alienation, being uncertain of our belonging in a normal functioning society, asking ourselves, what if there's something fundamentally wrong with me? Am I incapable of being normal? Am I unable to have friends? Am I not meant to?
These already sound scary and could be the start of a dangerous downward spiral. Our mental health would be in a much darker place than the initial neediness caused by lousy friends. Defeats the point of a friend. Friends are supposed to be people we actually like spending time with and want to pay attention to. Usually we can only reach this state by making a safe space, communicating openly and actively forgiving where applicable. Friends generally already understand each other better than strangers and acquaintances. Given the cumulative interactions together, we know each other's personalities, quirks, and beliefs fairly well. And friends still want to understand each other better because we're genuinely interested in each other's lives. So coming to a decision to cut our friends off by ourselves wouldn't be very friend-like of us. It doesn't sound like we'd have expressed ourselves honestly or sought our friends' perspectives on the conflict. 4. Fixing it takes two.
But that's a problem in the first place.
Oh, that our non-reciprocating friends don't even seem to be trying to accommodate us in their lives? It's always something, and we're trying to address the problem, but they're the ones who can't even make time to do that with us. These problems could be communication breakdowns, where they're not fully aware of the impact their actions are having on us.
Personal struggles, challenges affecting their ability to engage actively with us.
It's understandable that we might think,
Yeah, even if life may be busy, it can't really be months on end of this lackluster reciprocation, right? Is it really that tough on them? Or are they just kidding themselves and us? Actually, even if it is tough on them, if I mattered enough, wouldn't they still make time for me?
defense, generously patient. How long is too long for our friend to be lousy is individually subjective.
Months on end.
Is just one example. Problems like communication breakdowns and personal struggles tend to be more temporary in nature. So the best case scenario is that hopefully the problem doesn't last too long. Hopefully it turns out that all we needed to do was to wait just a little longer than we already did.
But of course, if that doesn't happen, we can't wait forever.
It does take two, so it's tough to defend this stance. All we have is something about being generous with our patience. Be so patient that our lousy friend can take as long as they need to come back around, and we'd welcome them back with a smile. And it shouldn't break our hearts or kill us inside that the only way to be friends with this person is by being unbothered with their absence outside of our face-to-face interactions.
Of course, it's easier said than done.
But if we can find it inside of us, why not give it a shot? It can only go up from this point.
Since the relationship has already reached an all-time low.
Track record. It's often the case that friendships have value prior to the current issues, such that ending it would result in a sense of loss, even regret. The strength of emotions in the heat of the moment can make it easy to forget, ignore, or downplay the aspects of the friendship that have made and kept us friends in the first place. A history together filled with shared memories, experiences, common interests, and emotional kindredness are what led us to liking and understanding our friends in the first place. They have probably made life more enjoyable, been a reliable source of support during our low phases, and provided emotional, mental, or even practical assistance. The friendship could have enabled our personal growth and development, and contributed net positively to our lives over time. 4. They change too much, too permanently.
If they used to care so much more for us in the past, how could they not make time and effort in the present for us now? Are we not important enough to them anymore for them to make time for?
Depending on the context or history of the friendship, a sustained distance can be puzzling. People change all the time, so when we say our friend changed too much, yeah, it might mean that they could have become someone who sees us as no longer important enough to make time for in their lives. It sounds a lot like the
I don't even know you anymore
scenario, which has been the most clear-cut reason to cut them off so far. These category of problems could look like changing priorities toward career or a different network.
Mismatched expectations about the level of involvement and effort required in the friendship now.
Unlike the previous problems of communication and struggles, these problems sound more permanent and therefore more likely to change the friendship to never be the same again. Defense. We learn about them. We don't know enough about this version of them that doesn't seem to care about us. There's always the chance that it could just be a phase. Communication is still key to gaining clarity on the situation, to explore possible solutions, or at least compromises. Understanding the underlying reasons can help determine whether the friendship can evolve and adapt to the current circumstances. Maybe we can see it as renewal, like newfound interest in the aspects of their lives that have made them less inclined to meet us.
Since we already don't even know them anymore and they're just somebody we used to know,
Viewing them like a new friend that we're interested in finding more about
or an old one we haven't seen in ages,
could make the interaction a better experience for both of us.
it shouldn't matter so much that a friendship is never the same again, since life evolves constantly.
There's even a chance that because we can turn something concerning into a good time, it may reignite more meetings again.
All thanks to us leaving behind our angst and negativity. Vicious cycle reversed.
Hopefully, and if it's not, that's okay too. For a friend.
Here at LTAp, we make content about what it means to live well, as a kind of answer to everything. There could be billions of different interpretations to this, since ultimately everybody gets to decide for themselves individually. But if you're interested in our suggestions, you could stick around with us. We have a lot to answer. For a friend.